Hello, this is Dread, and in today's video topic, this is going to be the first Abberoth kill I've ever had, as it took me a little bit to learn the mechanics of the fight, because I wasn't necessarily focused on actually fighting him, if that makes sense. I was more focused on learning his mechanics so that, I could fight him easier in the future, because I'm playing Avalanche Shaman, and Avalanche Shaman has a lot of damage, so I could just DPS him down, but that wouldn't serve me well when I'm playing my next few characters. So I spent a lot of keys just trying to figure out mechanics, see how much damage certain things do. And now that I know this, we can actually talk about it in this video. Now, at the end of this video, I'm going to attach the full kill with some music attached. So if you just want to see me kill him with the Avalanche Shaman, go ahead. But first, before that, I just want to shout out, actually, right before I killed Abberoth, what happened was Woody Joe killed Abberoth as well, the first one on hardcore, and he was using the Fury Leap immune tech, which is also something I was using as well, because I just had gotten off of playing some Commander with my friends, and I was like, maybe we can try something else. So I unspec'd out Spriggan Form, we spec'd into the immune while leaping, and then a little bit after I killed him, right? Then I saw Woody Joe actually got #1 hardcore with the same tech with Avalanche as well, which was really funny coincidence. But I'm just gonna, shout him out anyways, because he thought of it as well. So let's talk about the kill. Obviously, this is in softcore. This isn't with better gear. Woody Joe was like in hardcore with less gear, right? So his kill is significantly more impressive, but I do want to talk about my kill and talk about Abberoth in general. So we're going to play this, and we're going to talk about the kill. So the first part of the phase here is we have the two Harbingers that come out. They're your stereotypical same Harbingers that you've been fighting the entire time. They have the very basic moves. Now, essentially, these two are just a gear check. Once you have good enough gear, you can simply kill them very quickly, either with damage or, of course, tanking their blows. But to note a few things, that purple smash there that the Harbinger of Brutality does, it does a lot of damage. Also, the void pools there, they also do a decent amount of damage. So those are two things I would suggest staying out of the way of, but everything else is pretty easily tankable for the most part. I think I can tank the purple slam, but I get really low, and there's kind of no point tanking something that you can easily dodge out of the way of. The red beams used to do damage to me, but I've improved my gear a lot since then. But yeah, Avalanche pretty much easily destroys the two, because every single time I get a large boulder crit, I get 2 extra boulders, because there's 2 bosses, right? And then, of course, those 2 boulders could be extra large boulders, and then, as you can see, we get a lot of extra boulders because of that. Now, I'm being very careful. I can kill these way faster if I just sit and face tank and everything, but I also didn't want to, rip accidentally for no reason, because these keys, sure, they are plentiful, like you drop them a bunch, but to be financially, to use them in the financially responsible way, it is better to just take your time with the Abberoth kill and then, kill these. Of course, if I were to improve my gear more and more, we could kill him way faster. But yeah, now after this phase, if you haven't seen the Abberoth fight, he's going to teleport you to your phase. Now, first things off, in the beginning, when he does the little jump, he's going to do a little jump first. So don't start attacking him here. Don't spend your load here. Also as well, there's going to be a small little void beam thing here that's going to shoot out of the middle, and that will follow you. This will happen the entire fight, and you need to place them properly. It is void damage over time. By the way, in this whole footage, I have 50% void res, just so you know. But essentially, it's a void dot, and it can get really annoying. Now, it's not that bad, you can out-sustain it, but it just effectively reduces your sustain versus all of Abberoth's other hits. So you definitely want to stay out of the void beam if you can help it. Now here, we're going to wait for Abberoth to jump over here. I'm just pre-planning my stuff, getting my Maelstrom set up. And of course here, he's going to do the big attack. So outside, void dot, does lots of void dot. Inside is safe, and this is a time to DPS him down before he does the slam. So here, generally, a decent build, obviously. No, so this is ignoring all of the memery, the one tapping builds and stuff like that. I'm talking about builds that do normal amounts of damage, like most of us. Here, a good indicator of your DPS is by knocking out his first thing here in the first phase, his first ward bar. So you can tell here, I DPS him down, I'm waiting for him to finish, and then when the thing goes away, there will be a big void dot pool. That void dot pool does a very large amount of damage, and I have not seen anyone tank it yet. Here, he does a bunch of smacks. Technically, I can phase tank the smacks, but the smacks are so easy to dodge, it's not that bad. Now, something that just happened here, see this, he did like a little bit of a jump. So he did like a very little bit of a jump here. That is very dangerous. This void pool he creates, the slam itself doesn't do that much damage, but the void pool he makes a very large amount of damage. And he can also attack you with it off screen. I have actually been killed off screen. He was off screen and he sniped me from across the way with it. And of course, at the time I only had like 2k life with like little void res and all that. So like I instantly died, but with a little bit of defenses, you can survive this, but it's definitely something you need to avoid. This is the main way that you can die in this fight in the early phases. Of course, there's this cold ball. This does cold degen. It's pretty easy to dodge, but all the balls themselves, they do a little bit of cold hits. They deal very little amounts of damage, so it's not that big of a deal. Yeah, as you can see here, this swipe doesn't do that much damage. It's kind of like an auto attack. Take this time to attack him. He does like a bunch of moves where he moves backwards, forwards, and like he rushes into you and he moves backward. This is very important to know because for DPS phases, if you're playing a build like mine where it does targeted damage, so like it's avalanche with a duration, you do need to be careful and not blowing your mana load when he's moving. Otherwise you'll lose a lot of DPS. He moves a very fair amount of ways away, so you can actually lose a lot of DPS just by accidentally casting spells when he's moving. So whenever you think he's gonna move, you gotta like play with the tells and stuff like that. But essentially, try to DPS him down in the appropriate phases. So here, he does the smack again. I phase tank it because it's not that much damage. So these void balls here, they come in random patterns. And essentially, whenever they hit you, they're like shaper balls. They make like a void dot pool for a little bit. I don't know if it's the entire duration of the fight, but I know that they have a long duration. Either they last the entire duration of the fight, or they get cleansed when he changes timelines, I think, if I'm not mistaken. I'm not entirely sure how that works, but I know that they're void dot pools and they do a decent amount of damage. You don't do the most amount of damage, but obviously you don't want to be sitting in it. And as you can tell, as we're doing all this fight, the void dot things, lasers are still going. Now this is going to be another phase. He will keep doing this if you don't have that much DPS, so you do have to get used to dodging this. This is one of the main mechanics to dodge. As you'll see later, it's important. So this one here, he puts like a fire dot on you, and that's just gonna like just deal some fire dot damage over time. It's not that big of a deal. Now he's gonna change timelines here. So the first timeline here, first things off, this entangling roots will root you to the ground. So if you use a skill, a movement skill that makes you immune to damage, like Fury Leap or Shift or something like that, you will not get rooted or teleport or whatever, right? But if you evade through it, you will get rooted. So do not evade through this. I would use a movement skill out of it. Of course, you can get rooted and then use evade to move around, but it's like not a big deal, obviously, right? It's up to you. Now we're gonna keep DPSing him down here. Now this phase is a little interesting. He has these balls. Now these balls can actually get destroyed with Warcry, by the way, but they're pretty easy to dodge, so you just get out of his way on that one. So here he does like the little leap here. Now we're just waiting. There's like a scythe thing. The scythe, if your character actually has decent survivability, the scythe doesn't actually do that much damage. It's just annoying and more visual clutter than anything, to be honest with you. All right. He's going to do another smack. As you can see, I take a 3.6k hit, but I, instantly heal it back because of my setup. And then we're just going to wait here. He's going to do another void thing. Like, see there? That was the tick there. If I would have sit there for a little bit longer, I would have been dead. So here, another smack. So you can walk through that void laser and take relatively low damage, but standing in it is the problem. So I usually I can walk through it pretty easily, except for in the last phase. For some reason, they do a little bit more damage. And see here, I evade through the void pool here, and then I'm just waiting. Now these void balls are very annoying to dodge, but once you get the hang of it, it's not that big of a deal. You just got to evade out of them. Now he's going to do the slam again, of course. Make sure, like when you're playing a character, To make the quality of life of this fight much better is to focus on getting enough tankiness to tank those slams, because once you tank those slams, your amount of DPS windows you have are significantly higher. So if you're playing like a melee build, being able to tank those slams and leech back from them is very important. So here, he's going to change phases again. Now here, this is when the void lasers, you start getting multiple void lasers, and that's when they get very dangerous. Now this mechanic, I am not entirely sure how it works exactly, but from what I have seen, what can happen here is there's 4 different areas for 4 different gods, and each one does their own thing. So one does a bunch of lightning, I think lightning and cold, like lightning ones. I think that's the Lagan one. Then there is one that does lightning attacks, like lightning, like balls on the ground. And then one does like a fire attack. And I'm not entirely sure what the last one does. I think it does like sand pools that slow you. I don't know what they do exactly because I haven't been paying attention, but they seem to be they don't seem to do that much, at least from what I've seen. Of course, he's going to do another ball phase here. It's very easy. As you can see, those are the lightning balls. Those are the Lagan side. So each side is like has its own thing, but like they're pretty easily tankable. If you can tank the slam like that, you can tank everything else. That is not a big deal. Oh yeah, so he has this other thing. So if you stand too far away from him in this phase, he actually has like a cold projectile skill. So be wary of that. That actually doesn't do some amount of damage. So these cold waves, they don't actually do that much damage, to be honest with you. Like at all, they don't really do that much damage. So like you can just kind of phase sync. Like you saw there, that void scythe that only did like 293 to me, that didn't do that much. So you can kind of ignore that. We can go here. If you stand between the zones here, I've noticed you can actually kind of dodge most of the effects in this phase, but they're pretty non-consequential. Now this is the necrotic phase. So he has this slice attack, this slice attack with scythe. Now this applies a curse or like a stack of ailment on you or something that cannot be cleansed. It stays on you the entire fight, the rest of it. And I think it makes you take increased damage, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know exactly how it works, but I'm pretty sure it makes you take increased damage for the rest of the fight. But it's pretty easy to tell when he's doing it. For a voice cue, he's just like, like die. And then he does that. And then like, it's pretty easy to dodge as long as you're like decently around him. If you stick close to him, it's very easy to dodge because you just like run around him, right? Of course, he does another one of these. As you can see, just dodging everything. I'm getting pretty good at this fight, unironically. Like I said, the slices again. He's constantly chilling you. He is constantly chilling you, by the way. So having any amount of chill immunity might be kind of interesting for this fight. As you see, we dodge through the things. Now it's scythe again. Like I said, we just dodge a scythe. This phase is pretty easy. Now, I would use this phase. This phase is easy. I would use it to try to DPS him down as much as possible into the lower amounts of HP, because the next phase is the hardest phase by far. He's much like Sears from Path of Exile, where it takes a lot of effort to kill him in the last phase or the last one. So any builds with like coal, any builds with like, etc. So if you have normal DPS, he actually changes over phase at like 35%. If you have a bunch of damage, he'll like phase over at like 20% from what we've seen. I'm going to keep playing it here. He's going to do the fire thing on me. Doesn't do that much damage, to be honest. It's very easily dodgeable once you have good gear. Those void lasers are a bit worse. Now here, he enters the void phase. This is where he levels up, and this is where he has a lot of fun. So there's a lot of things going on at once. So I'm going to give you the play-by-play here real quick. So first things off, he's going to do a void beam. So you see here, it's hard to tell here. Let me redo that. So he's going to do a void laser. So on the ground there, you see this little line? That is the indicator that he's going to do like a void beam death attack. Now the problem with this void beam death attack is he can move while he's channeling it. So watch me move. See how he moves? You need to be careful with that. He can move while channeling it. I died like a few times because of that. So he's going to do the laser here, right? Now, Guess what? He does it twice in a row, and the second channel takes nowhere near as much time. So you just need to get out of there. That does a very large amount of damage, and you can very easily die to it. And remember, while you're doing this, the arena is encroaching. So you see this arena here? The arena gets smaller, and the void kind of like starts taking over here, right? Which is cool. Don't stand in that. It does a decent amount of void damage, but if you need to dodge something real quick, you can kind of like touch it, but like don't stand in it. And of course, the void lasers are going off at this time. All right, as you can see, it keeps encroaching. Now, this is the important part. Now, this is what gets almost everyone. Listen up, this is important. If you don't learn anything from this video, this is the most important one. Now, the area, the encircling void damage, it makes the arena smaller, okay? So you need to analyze your position with Orbis. So, I mean, with Abberoth. So you see how he's here in the lower right? You want to be moving up through here. So the problem is, if you stand here and try to go left, you'll go in the void dot. If you try to go right, you'll go in the void dot. You need to stand like essentially opposite of the arena. The little void dot thing he does with the slam, it is just big enough to make like a small little sliver of space. So I'll show you here. He's going to do it. You just want to get the fuck out of dodge. So here, you see that? See how it opens? Now, you want to get to the other side of the arena. Literally, whatever you need to do, movement skill, evade, teleport, whatever, get to the other side of the arena. Otherwise, that is going to kill you. That is one of the biggest problems with this fight, is knowing when he's going to do this, because you don't have that much room to run, so you need to instantly evaluate where you need to move. So we're going to move over here. As you can see, look at that. Barely any amount of room there at all. Like look at that. I'm gonna like rewind it a little bit here. Yeah, let me rewind it a little bit to give you an idea, okay? Like, so that look at how much room you have. You need to know when he's gonna slam you, okay? So that's the next one. Now, after this, he does normal mechanics, so he does like the slam things and all that. Now, one thing that's dangerous is this void beam thing here. He's gonna do a bunch of void beams around you, right? And like essentially it's going to lock off areas of the arena. You need to have decent either dot mitigation, sustain while not leeching, by the way, or just void damage, less damage taken, like a ravenous void or something. But essentially this thing here can easily kill you accidentally if you're not careful enough. So here we're just going to go through the mechanics. See, as you can see here, essentially these void beams, what they mean is these areas are just locked off. You do not want to be over here at all because of the void beams. They can overlap and you can be damaged by multiple ones. That's why one void beam is kind of okay. You can kind of tank it a little bit, you know, if you have good sustain, but multiple are just going to kill you. So here he's going to go through his mechanics here. He's going to do the slam. Thankfully, as long as you have a build that's tanky enough to tank the slam, it's not a big deal, right? Then here he does the void beam things again and again. So he will keep doing these throughout the zone. So like be ready for the void beams. So be very careful. Remember, he does 2 in a row still. Now, we're waiting here. Now he's going to go to that side of the arena. Of course. Now, he does the cold thing, not a big deal. Now he does that. Now pay attention here. Okay, this is important. Now we're gonna play this again. And we're going to play it at a slower speed because I'm going to show you the trick. Okay? Now, make sure you remember where you are in relation to the void beam thing here. So kind of use that as like the circle and memorize. It's about a screen size, okay? Like imagine the arena is about 1 screen size and use this as the center, and it helps a lot because he darkens the whole arena when he does this. So you don't remember where to go if you're not remembering. This is a memory game. So we're going to slow it down here, right? We're going to wait for him to like go and do his attack here. We're just waiting here. And the beautiful thing is, as you were waiting to do these kind of things, okay, here you go. So you see how this all covered? You need to remember. So we can see the void laser here. Now he's going to slam here, right? That means his AoE is going to encroach, and you need to be around over here. You need to be far away from him. So this is the center. So imagine you're a screen away. So like up here would be your safe spot. So we're going to let it go. So I'm going to start taking damage over here. So we're just waiting. We're going to wait, and then I'm going to go in the upper left. Now, a split second before he does the slam, the mirage goes away and you can see more clearly. But as you can see, we're going to actually get the fuck out of dodge, whether that be evade, whatever you need to do. As you can see here, right out of it, I need to move a little bit more before I died and see a bunch of void beams on my position. That's like one of the more dangerous things of the fight. But now we can play it in normal motion. That's what catches everyone off guard. That's what catched me off guard. That's what catched everyone off guard. If you do not know about these mechanics, it's very hard to do it. All right, now we're gonna wait here. He's gonna do another void beam, and as of course, we're gonna do DPS while we're waiting. Good luck to all you melee players, by the way. Just letting you know that. So we're gonna DPS him down a little bit here. Of course, my mana management is a little bad. That's because this is like kind of heart-wrenching. As you can tell, he's at 3%. I should have just went for the kill and stayed outside of Spriggan Form, but it's fine. Now we're just going to kill him. I'm stupid. I should have just killed him here. I should not have sat here. I'm going to use the Fear Leap. Yeah, the Fear Leap immune tech that Woody Joe showed me. Pog. And then we're going to kill him. Perfect. And that's it. Now, like I said, after this, there's going to be a video. There's going to be the full kill in the description. But with all that being said, this has been Dread. I'll have to go do something else. Bye. Have fun with the video.